Do it.
Welcome. We are in a weird time. We're getting a lot of questions.
Yes.
And what better way than technology to get everybody on the same page?
Yes.
Welcome to whatever this is, podcast.
Welcome. Hello.
Lacey Weaver, my beautiful wife.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the challenge that we're facing is that we've got people that are looking at the church from a political perspective and going,
Yes.
politically, we need to make a move and open back up. We've got people that are looking at it from a spiritual perspective that say there are people that are feeling isolated. And then we've got people that are looking at church, our church, at a 30,000 foot level and saying kind of like, what is the plan? I think this is probably the best way to just put everybody philosophically on the same page as to where we are and where we see it going.
Good. I agree. And the board and the leadership team has been actively discussing this. We had a 3-hour meeting last night about it. And so we're just going to give you some bullet points about where we're going moving forward.
Yeah, and it's
with all
possible.
the unknown.
It's possible if you're watching this video, it's because we sent you here because this is kind of the one area to describe it. There is a plan. There are people working on it. Nothing that we're doing is out of fear of repercussion or fear of the illness taking over Powell, Butte, or anything like that. But the church, you gotta remember the Shiloh Ranch is two things. It's church in person. Mm-hmm. It's the community that you can see, and we're developing an online community that you cannot see. And so when we start putting this plan together, we're now to a place in 2020, we're now to a place where they're even. They're the exact same. It's not like this is the real thing and this is the backup thing, or this is the real thing and this is the backup thing. So when you talk about the reopening, you got to remember that what we're trying to do is facilitate both. Because by facilitating online, it opens the doors for like Wickenburg and Silver Lake and Adel and all these places that are going, we could do church, great. And so as we start looking at a plan, keep in mind, it's not just how do we open phase one of the in-person church. It is what does it look like if you are a part of the second campus of Shiloh Ranch, which is I would love to attend in person, but digitally is my only option. And how do we as a church prioritize that on even scale? Because the world is changing.
Yeah, and just a couple bullet points to keep in mind is, we're not focused on how to get back to normal. Normal is never going to be normal again, which is a really great thing. Typically, the church has always grown nationally through restrictions or persecution. I'm not saying this is persecution, but through restrictions and limitations. And that's what we're seeing now is this is one of the biggest opportunities the church has ever had. And we see tremendous growth happening. One of the things that the leadership team and the staff has unanimously decided is that there is no going back to normal as is, meaning online will always have to be a part of what we do moving forward.
Well, it's funny when you look back through history right now, you hear parents going, those kids just play video games. It's going to fry their brain. When I was a kid, it was TV. You watch too much TV, it's going to fry your brain. But before that, when they started coming out with books, they were like, these kids are just sitting around reading books. It's going to fry their brains. There's always been shifts and changes. And I think we're right now in the midst of an accelerated shift that says the way that we think about church has got to remain current. How do we love the people that we can see? How do we love the people that we're not able to see? And to continue to pursue the vision of Shiloh Ranch, which includes the online presence.
Yes. So right now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be introducing some concepts of how we're going to do that to the best of our ability moving forward. What our plan is, you're going to hear from some different faces moving forward. And we're just going to kind of give you some updates and talk about what's going on.
So if you're asking, like, what are we doing? What's the plan?
Welcome.
That's today. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
Today we are with Mary McLane. She is the worship director for Shiloh Ranch.
Yes.
Face of the worship team. So we're in the middle of a weird season. Everything's changing.
We are.
Worship has changed because of the obvious changes to the globe. Mm-hmm. We've had to make changes as a church. And we're now looking at what the transition, because what this has done philosophically at a church level is we've said, okay, this is it. Our online campus has now caught up. Mm-hmm. It is now equal with our in-person attendance.
Right.
And so from a worship perspective, things have changed for you guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're all doing more studio type stuff.
Yeah.
As we go through the summer and we're looking at what it looks like to move forward with that, what do you see as priority one? As we're looking at what's it going to look like to go back, where do you find yourself?
It's always been a goal, I think, and it's been a little bit hard for me to build the worship team. I think that's something, since we have more time during the week, we've got a different avenue of worship that we're doing now. I think we have an opportunity to reach out to people, have people reach out to us, and grow the worship team, add some new things in,
Yeah.
spice it up.
Well, I think it's, Lacey actually mentioned it. I think it's a great point that I think there are people who they feel connected to worship. Maybe they've got some musical giftings or leanings. And then there's people who don't. And it seems like they both like being on team. But for that person, like if it was me, the idea of singing in front of people just causes me to want to pass out.
Me too.
But right now with what we're doing, we're having to go different avenues. There's not like the thousands of people right in your face watching you. Is it possible that we've got some avenues for growth now that we wouldn't have had 4 months ago?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about is doing some virtual auditions, which kind of takes away the awkwardness, the tension of doing an in-person audition.
Yeah.
For both me and someone that was auditioning. So that's something we want to do.
For people that don't know, and this is something that's really, in my mind, remarkable, is that you didn't come from a background of being a worship leader. And so there's these kinds of things you're still new to. So in fairness to you, the idea of just like putting together an audition and telling people no, like, what? That's terrifying for anybody. But so what's cool, like I said, remarkable is that you're leading worship. You're going into this season of like growing the worship team. And what does that even look like? You're learning how to grow as you're growing.
Yeah.
What would you suggest if somebody thinks that they're interested? I'll rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay.
Not everybody that applies is going to get accepted. That's that's anything. Doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
We know that there's going to be people that maybe would like to be involved, or conversely, there's going to be people who we really need.
Yeah.
We need them to get involved. How would they go about a digital audition?
I think probably the best way would be emailing administrator@shilohranch.com, and that will get.
When you say email, send a video to the
Yeah.
email?
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be anything, a video of you singing or playing an instrument or both, or just an email asking questions or whatever.
Well, and our schedule has some flexibility in it right now.
Yeah.
Like even if you've got things that you're doing at other churches, we can work with you.
Yeah.
Like I think our goal, because like I said, to be very clear, the reason that we're not just blowing the doors back open, back to normal, is because what we're doing is better than normal was.
Yeah.
So we're saying, how do we sort of balance the two? And so in that transition season, growing the worship team is going to be a part of that. And that means just because you don't see where you could have fit into the worship team 4 months ago, that's not the goal. The goal is to grow, and even things like drums, you know, things that we've never been able to use traditionally.
Use live with our concrete floor.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, it's interesting because when we do our live recordings of worship, there's no one here besides just the team. So it's kind of a weird, like, oh, there's no one singing with us, but it's still authentic. You know, we're not necessarily making it a performance, but that could be, you know, something that's appealing to someone who maybe hasn't been playing music in front of people. That, you know, right now, the platform that we're doing it on, you're not in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the growth trajectory even of the worship. I mean, I think worship is one of our strengths here, and to think of that steadily improving and you're sort of decentralizing amongst the different talents and tastes. And like, I would love to think that God has some talented person out there that's like, okay, fine. That a digital audition where they're able to send a video into administrator at Shiloh Ranch. But by sending in a video, maybe we'll get an audition that the in-person thing was just going to be too uncomfortable and we'd have missed.
Well, and if I ever, which I don't often, but if I ever take a video of myself singing or playing piano or whatever, I never really have my face in it because it's weird. So don't feel like you have to have your face in it. But also, like, it's got to be you. It can't. Also, you can't just like take a black screen of Taylor Swift singing.
This is pretty much what I would sound like. I don't do it now, but like, I could totally do this.
I have a dry cough and a fever, so I can't. I don't sound my best.
The conditions are not for my throat.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and then if you want to submit like a drum solo, you could just directly message Mary on all of her social media platforms, right?
Yeah. You could do that.
Yeah.
Or Levi.
Levi Wolfe.
Just plug our Instagrams really quick. I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, I'm excited. We're gonna go back.
Too.
We're gonna go back to kind of figuring it out. We are gonna have people start kind of easing back into the building. We are gonna continue our live online, and man, I think it's gonna be so much better by the time we're done. By the time we're settled back into a rhythm, it's gonna be better than what it was. So.
Yep, I agree.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks.
We are back. We're discussing the transition between what we have been, what we feel called to be. We are in a season right now. The pandemic has been a season, I would say, of discovery. Is that a good way of saying that?
Absolutely.
We are discovering how to be who we felt called to be, but haven't been able to do until now.
Right.
Accurate?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So one of the things that we've wanted to do is go live. We've wanted to be able to do live in our second campus because we're always live in the first. That's the Powell Butte. That's the Powell Butte campus. Right. Powell Butte campus being campus 1. We knew that we wanted to get the second campus, which is anything remote or anything digital. That's our second campus. We knew we wanted to get live at that level also, and we haven't been able to do it until this.
Right.
To do so, what had to change?
Oh, I mean, mindsets.
Okay.
I mean, because people had to get over the
There's a stigma. I think that's fair.
the stigma of online isn't real. Online is very real, and this proves it.
Yeah. So we didn't have the facilities because part of going live at a digital level is right now would have been at the expense of the in-person campus. Like we could never do that. So that's kind of what's been holding off is like, oh, we can't cause the first campus to suffer for the benefit of the second campus.
Right.
And then the first campus gets shut down and it's like, all right, well,
now's a good
here's our
time.
chance. Yeah. Studio wise, I mean, everybody can obviously see that this is where we have church.
Yeah.
And this is our only real space for this.
Yeah. I mean, right now, just this one set that we're in is like 500 square feet. So obviously when people come in here to sit down, we can't be doing what we're doing.
Right.
So there's a transitionary period of where do we take what we're doing right now?
Right.
Where do we put that for any kind of, project to be built to house this and then future projects?
Well, and I think our access to people is important during the week. And we did the math one time. If Jordan, decided that I was going to take the Jasper Weaver approach and I was going to spend time with every person in the church, and I gave every person 5 minutes, which is nothing.
Right.
I mean, we've already been almost talking for 5 minutes. Every person gets 5 minutes. I wouldn't have enough time in the week if I didn't sleep and if I didn't write a sermon and if I didn't have a personal life and I never spent time with my family. 5 minutes per person still wouldn't be enough.
Right.
And you go, okay, so that won't work. The in-person experience is great. If you're pastoring 25 or 30 people, great.
Wonderful.
When you grow beyond that, you go, okay, then what would access or connection look like? And the answer has been
Online.
digital. Has to be digital. It has to be digital access. You still get to rub shoulders with people. You still get to have the live experience when possible. But what we have seen is that for us to continue to go the direction that we're going, we've got to include the second campus, which is people that may not be here in person. Maybe they don't live near here, but they can, with a click of a button, feel like that this is a culture that they connect to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, logistically, what we're seeing in the future, very near future, is joining those two.
Exactly.
Taking the physical campus 1, which is what we're in right now, and taking that and joining them with campus 2.
Yeah.
So you can be sitting in campus 1,
right,
but then also go on to campus 2 and interact with everyone there.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I've never been a part of a church that does it that way, but the idea of being able to interact at church during church is, I mean, that's huge. That's a great opportunity for people to sort of get their questions in or engage, because one of the things that gives me anxiety is when church ends, I realize that I'm not going to be able to get to everybody.
Sure.
And I don't ever want people to feel like I'm checking a box. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. How you been? Ha. Like that is what I'd never wanted to become.
Right.
So the digital really allows us to lean in deeper and go into deeper topics, these kind of conversations, so that everybody who wants to call this place home can and feels like they've got some level of access.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, more so than if Campus 2 didn't exist.
Right.
Meaning they're able to be with the people they love here.
Right.
Eat, the wonderful food that's provided and all this different stuff, and then also be able to ask you a question at the end of it.
Campus 2, the presence or the reality of Campus 2 is going to enhance Campus 1.
Exactly.
And I think that's important for the people that have been here and be like, we just want to go back to normal. Like, no, we're not going to go back to normal. It's going to be better.
Yeah.
We're going to enhance it. We're going to have the in-person experience. We're going to use this summer. That's going to be the summer of chaos anyway.
Yeah.
Use this summer to bring the second campus along so that the two, like you said, the two merge. And that's kind of what we've seen happen at Wickenburg, is that it's a digital campus, but it's live. And like we've seen it a little bit, but it's not live digitally there.
Sure.
So to bring everything online to be live together this season, like what we have decided, it's not fear or scared of this or scared of that. It's that we're going to be intentional with this season and go, we've got to get this. We got to get the space created. We've got to have the opportunity to do what we're doing, even as people start coming back into the building. And so it's going to be slower, but when it's up and running, it's going to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And we analyzed what made church, and we talked to people and we said, okay, why the people that maybe were apprehensive about online stuff, why, physical church and so on and so forth. And it came down to, they want to be with the people they want,
Right.
They want to be with
Human
people.
interaction.
Yeah. And so it's almost cool because you get to take a little ownership and do that yourself.
Yeah, your level of interaction is up to you. Like if you live in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
not anywhere near here, and you're like, I need human interaction, you have the platform. If you want to bring people in, you
Right.
can. Or if you're kind of working through some stuff and you just need to like focus and
in.
do your thing, you can do that also.
Yeah.
So
No, it's cool. It's really cool.
it's awesome. So for that reason, this summer, we're going to really lean into bringing second campus and first campus all into one. All into one campus. Instead of the separation between the two, try the best we can to integrate it in such a way that benefits and enhances both places.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate